Do you feel like there should be more budget options for audio-video processors, or what's more commonly known as pre-pros or preamps? Well, I feel the same way. I think that there's plenty of options for the mid-range and high-end markets, but I feel like the budget market gets neglected. Well, today we are going to see a brand new processor that's going to be hitting the market that hopes to fill that void. And yes, there is going to be demos, so make sure you guys stay tuned. I'm Barrett, this is Spec of Tech. Welcome to the channel. Here at Spec of Tech, we recently covered two preamps, being the Marantz AV7706 as well as the Anthem AVM70, and I even compared them against each other. I'm going to link those videos in the top right hand corner as well as down in the description below. Those two preamps I do consider to be more on the mid-range side of things, maybe leaning towards the budget side of things, but based on a lot of the comments I received as well as some friends, it is still out of the reach of a lot of consumers in the market. The budget market is littered with AVRs that have built-in amplification, but most of them don't have pre-outs or XLRs that you could add external amplification if you wanted, and they don't always have the best sound quality. But I think we do have to cut them some slack there because they are trying to pack in a lot of features, as well as room calibration and amplification in an inexpensive package. But in the budget segment, there are very few processors that sacrifice internal amplification for balanced XLR connections, as well as increased sound quality. Before I reveal what processor I've been talking about, I want to give a special thank you to Amir at Summit Hi-Fi. He was gracious enough to send me this processor so I could reveal it to all of you. This is the international version, but there will be a North American version coming very soon. If you are interested in checking out one of the best audio businesses out there and some of the best customer service, I've dropped the link down below to the Summit Hi-Fi website. For those of you that follow the channel, you probably heard me mention that business before, and that's because they did supply the Tone Winner amplifiers that I had in for review, and I'll link those videos in the top right hand corner as well as down in the description below. But Tone Winner is doing some amazing things in the budget space for audio equipment. So why did I bring up Tone Winner? Well, because they are the manufacturer behind this new budget processor that is going to be coming to the North American market. So I'm proud to introduce you guys to the Tone Winner AT300 13.3 channel AV processor. So what do you guys think about the looks of the AT300? Drop your comments down below. I, for one, think that the build quality and looks are pretty fantastic for what's considered a budget processor. So I've already mentioned a few times that this is a budget processor, so you guys must be wondering what the price is. Well, let's get into that as well as an overview of this processor. So this unit is aggressively priced for pre-orders at only $11.99 USD and $15.99 Canadian. And you are actually getting quite a bit here for that budget price. For anybody interested in pre-orders, you can contact Amir at Summit Hi-Fi in the website that I've linked down below. Alright, so I think we can all agree that that is a pretty reasonable price for a processor, but of course that all depends on what you get. So let's talk about what you do get for that price. We'll get to the processor in just one second, but first let's quickly cover the remote. It does have a nice tactile feel when you're clicking on the buttons. Unfortunately though, it is not backlit, but it does redeem itself a little by having quick select input source buttons. Alright, so let's move on to the processor, and if you are curious about the room calibration, this unit does have room calibration, but we'll get into that later on in the video. The unit's dimensions are only 3.75 inches tall, 17 inches wide, and 12.75 inches deep. It is an all-metal build with a brushed aluminum front face, which has a quality look. Keep in mind that this unit may have some slight aesthetic changes when the North American model arrives. The lettering will be geared towards North Americans, and the professional processor wording on the front will be removed to clean up the front panel just a little. Real quick before we continue with the information on the processor, if you guys do like Spec of Tech bringing you brand new products like this, make sure you do subscribe. If you do, tick the bell icon so you can be notified about my future videos, and please take just 1 second out of your day to click that like button down below. It takes you no time at all, but I really do appreciate it. So far we know that you are getting a 13.3 channel all metal body processor for only $11.99 USD, but you actually get quite a bit more here. So the front of the unit consists of a source selector knob, a USB port, a front display with some indicator LEDs, a volume knob, 6 buttons to control the settings and menus, as well as 1 power button. As per the usual, the sides, top and bottom are pretty basic with just some venting holes. Of course, the back of the unit is where all the connections are housed. In the top left-hand corner, you have 16 unbalanced RCA channel connections. 13 of them are for your speakers and 3 of them are for subwoofers. Below that and stretching across the bottom are the 14 balanced XLR connections. Similar to the RCA connections, there are 13 connections for speaker channels, but where the RCAs have 3 connections for subwoofers, there is only 1 XLR connection for subwoofers here. So if you do have more than 1 subwoofer, only one of them can be connected through XLR, and then the other ones would have to be connected through RCA. Above the XLRs, you have 4 sets of analog RCA inputs, 2 coax inputs, and 2 optical audio inputs. Moving to the right from there, you have your Bluetooth antenna, the calibration mic port, and a mini SD card slot. The SD card slot, as well as the USB, support several lossless formats as well as compressed formats like FLAC, APE, WAVE, and MP3. In the top right-hand corner, you have one IR input, one trigger output, a mini USB for connecting the unit to a PC, and of course your RS-232 input. For video connections, we have HDMI ports only, and they are HDMI 2.0 with HDCP 2.2. There are 6 HDMI inputs, which are capable of 4K 60Hz, RGB 444, HDR10, and Dolby Vision. There are 2 HDMI outputs, one of which is capable of ARC and eARC. So one thing that you may have noticed is that this unit does not have a Wi-Fi antenna, it has a Bluetooth antenna only, and that is because ToneWinner chose not to include Wi-Fi on this unit. When you're dealing with the budget segment, there are some sacrifices that have to be made to keep the price low, and I believe that this is one of them that ToneWinner made. But for the most part, those of us using processors like this, we don't need them to have smart features. I know that there are some of you out there interested in the room calibration. Well, included in the price, you do get a room calibration microphone as well as some accessories to go along with it. The calibration microphone looks to be very well built. It is an all-metal body with an XLR connection at the bottom. The mic connects to the unit using an XLR to 1/4 inch cable and a 1/4 inch to 3.5mm adapter included in the box to plug it into the unit. The room calibration software is a proprietary software to ToneWinner, but for those of you that prefer to adjust your own units, there is a very capable parametric EQ, which has 11 bands for the LCR, 7 bands for the surrounds and the heights, and 5 bands for the subwoofers. For those of you a little bit more technical out there, you may be curious what DAC this unit is using. Well, it's using the Cirrus Logic CS42528 DAC chipset. When it comes to audio, this unit does cover the major audio formats like Dolby Atmos, Dolby True HD, DTS-X, and DTS Master Audio. And considering the price point of $11.99, for this unit to include Dolby Atmos and DTS-X is actually pretty impressive. Alright, so let's move on to the menu as well as the on-screen display, and from here on forward I'll just refer to it as the OSD. All of the menu options with this unit will be shown on the OSD, so you have full functionality showing on your display, whether it be your TV or your projector. It is a very basic but well laid out OSD, and it is very easy to figure out. As you can see, the first tab here is the source tab, where you can label each of your inputs. The second tab is for your sound mode selection, but you can change the sound modes with a quick press of the buttons on the remote as well. The third tab is for adjusting the trim level of each channel, and the fourth tab is for the room calibration software. And lastly, you have a setup tab, and this is where most of your settings are, as well as most of your adjustments for the speakers, like the crossover and the EQ. So I haven't had the AT300 for very long, but so far for a budget unit, I must say it does have a lot going for it. So once I do get the official North American version of this processor, I will be doing a more in-depth review, as well as probably cover the room calibration software a little bit more in depth. But for right now, I must say for a budget unit, this thing does sound fantastic. All I've done so far is set the distances as well as the trims to level match everything to 75 dB at the main listening position. Regarding the audio, and what I've noticed so far is that this unit is articulate, it has really good channel separation, it is quite clear, it's also well balanced and has great powerful bass. So we've come to that part in the video that seems to be everybody's favorite, and that's the demos. But as usual, that does come with a disclaimer, and the disclaimer is that my recording equipment, my room, as well as the device that you're listening on does greatly affect the audio, so you're not going to get an accurate depiction of what I'm hearing in my room, and also my recording equipment does not pick up multi-channel audio. So even if the device that you are listening on is capable and YouTube was providing you with multi-channel audio, my recording equipment does not record it that way, so regardless, you will not be getting Dolby Atmos or DTS-X, so please keep that in mind. The first demo that I chose is the gunfight scene in John Wick, and I'll be using my Panasonic UB820 Blu-ray player, and that is being played on a Blu-ray disc. The second and third demo are both songs, and they are being played with Amazon Music HD. The first song is J2X and Lou, a song called Gentleman, and the second is a song by Nefix called Savage. The fourth demo is called Atmospheric, and it is a Dolby Atmos demo that I'll be playing from the NVIDIA Shield. Alright guys, let's get into these demos.
I go, will you go? If I pay, will you play? Do you know what I know? Do you love, do you hate? Do you care what I say? Is it all just the same? Always make these mistakes. Ooh, baby, take me, break me. All I wanna do is please. Wanna spread like a disease. Ooh, yeah, crazy, tasty, baby. I just wanna feel you breathe. I just wanna feel your needs, yeah.
I gotta admit, guys, I wasn't expecting as much because this is on the budget side of things, and I am coming from the Anthem AVM70, and before that I had the Marantz AV7706. So I wasn't really expecting a whole lot out of a budget processor, but I must admit this thing does sound great. It has great clarity, it has great balance, it's very articulate and very dynamic. I was actually impressed. So needless to say, guys, this budget processor really did impress me. Like I said, in my mind I had certain expectations because this is a budget processor, but it far exceeded those and it sounded much better than I thought it was going to. So those are my first impressions so far, but like I said, there will be an official North American version coming, which will have some slight aesthetic changes, and it will also be coming with a software update. So that North American version will at least sound on par, if not better than the unit that I have right now. But I was very excited to share it with you guys, so I wanted to get this video out there and introduce it to you all and let you know that there is a budget processor coming to the market. So for those of you that may be shopping for one, make sure you do hit up Amir. I've dropped his website down in the link below. So if you are interested in a pre-order, that's where you would go and talk to him. And as always, guys, make sure you enjoy your systems. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.